How's it going, everybody? Too Spooky here. And with Mortal Kombat 1 right around the corner, I think it's finally time for another Mortal Kombat fact video. This time going over 25 facts about Kitana. This video was suggested by all of these lovely people right here. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Number 1. Kitana debuted in Mortal Kombat 2 as one of the first palette swap female ninjas, alongside Mileena and Jade. However, unlike the other two, the initial concept for Kitana was first developed all the way back in the planning stages for the first Mortal Kombat game. Created by John Tobias, her initial concept was going to be an unplayable character named Kitsune, who would have been the daughter of Shang Tsung. In the early development stages for the first game, Shang Tsung was instead named Shang Lao, and would have been royalty, making Kitsune a princess as well. Kitsune's design concept showed her wielding a single large fan, and she otherwise wore traditional Chinese clothing. Her character overall being based on the character Princess Madako from the 1984 game, Karateka. Kitsune would have essentially been the prize for winning the tournament, which, in retrospect, I'm really glad they scrapped that idea, because women being considered an object that you can win and own is pretty gross. But from a story perspective, during the events of the game, Kitsune would have fallen for Liu Kang and betrayed Shang Lao as a result. Obviously, Kitsune didn't make the cut, and the story for the first Mortal Kombat game shifted quite a bit from when she was first conceived. But when development for Mortal Kombat 2 came around, John decided to rework the character of Kitsune into something a bit different. Once it was decided that Shang Tsung was supposed to be a minion of Shao Kahn's, Kitsune was changed to be Shao Kahn's stepdaughter, to keep the princess concept. And in the process of redesigning Kitsune to be a playable fighter, John drew a concept of her wielding Sai as a weapon. And after showing the idea to Ed Boon, he suggested they turn Kitsune into a palette swap by creating a separate character who wielded Sais, which is how Mileena first came to be, while Kitsune would wield bladed fans in homage to her initial concept. Finally, the name Kitsune would be changed to Kitana, mainly because Kitsune is a Japanese name, whereas Shang and Shao were both derived from Chinese. Katana was one of the names they were considering, but ultimately they decided to mix Kitsune and Katana to create Kitana, thinking it sounded, and I quote, generically Asian enough. With that, Kitana as we know her officially came to be. Number 2. When it comes to the original timeline, her history is as follows. While I'm only going to be briefly discussing all these events, it should first be noted that Kitana was captured by Shao Kahn as a baby during his conquest of Edenia, as Shao Kahn killed her biological father, Jarad, and captured her mother, Sindel, to be his wife. Although, Sindel would commit harakiri soon after, leaving Shao Kahn with only Kitana. At some point following her capture, Shao Kahn had Shang Tsung create a Tarkatan Edenian hybrid named Mileena to be Kitana's twin sister, using Mileena to watch over Kitana, fearing that she may betray him. Kitana was under the impression that she was Shao Kahn's biological daughter for most of her life, and would become one of his personal assassins, along with her good friend Jade, and Mileena of course. Eventually, Kitana would learn that Shao Kahn was, in fact, not her real father. And during the events of Mortal Kombat 2, she would secretly make contact with the Earthrealm warriors and form an alliance against Shao Kahn. But since she was being watched in secret by Mileena this whole time, Mileena confronted Kitana about her betrayal and attempted to kill her. However, Kitana got the upper hand and killed Mileena instead. Moving to the events of Mortal Kombat 3, Kitana would be imprisoned and pending execution in Outworld for killing Mileena. While imprisoned, Shao Kahn would resurrect her mother, Sindel, and plan an invasion of Earthrealm. During the confusion of the invasion, Kitana would manage to escape her imprisonment and meet up with the Earthrealm warriors. Her new goal was to free her mother's soul from Shao Kahn's clutches and remove the evil that taints it. Before she could achieve that, Shao Kahn ordered Jade and Reptile to attempt to assassinate Kitana. But Kitana managed to convince Jade to come over to Earthrealm's side, and the two of them defeated Reptile instead. Kitana would then manage to confront Sindel and free her soul. And after the defeat of Shao Kahn and his forces, Kitana and Sindel freed Edenia, and would subsequently rule over it once again. However, this rule would be short-lived as we move over to the events of Mortal Kombat 4. Shortly after Shao Kahn's defeat, Shinnok and Quan Chi would roll up to Edenia, take over the realm, and imprison Sindel and Kitana. Kitana would escape shortly after, but be confronted by the resurrected Mileena, who would attempt to kill Kitana once again. Kitana would defeat Mileena not once, but twice, but this time locked her up in the Edenian dungeons instead of killing her. Shortly after, the Earthrealm forces would defeat Shinnok, freeing Edenia once again. Kitana would then straight up propose to Liu Kang, offering to rule Edenia together as king and queen. Liu Kang would reluctantly decline, as he felt his place was solely as Earthrealm's champion. Soon after, during the events of Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, Kitana would learn that Shao Kahn was actually still alive and recovering in Outworld. And fearing Edenia's current vulnerability against Shao Kahn's forces would he attack, she decided to make an alliance with the Shokan, who would march against Shao Kahn's forces a few years later. However, their battle would result in a draw, and Kitana would learn soon after that Shao Kahn was mysteriously killed. Celebrating this as a sign that her fight was officially over, she was suddenly visited by Kung Lao, who regretfully informed her that the deadly alliance of Shang Tsung and Quan Chi not only killed Shao Kahn, but also killed Liu Kang. The news devastated her, and through her newfound heartbreak, she once again allied with the Earthrealm forces against the Deadly Alliance. Although, during their battle against them, Quan Chi would kill Kitana. Moving over to the events of Mortal Kombat Deception, Kitana's death would be short-lived, as Onaga would be resurrected and resurrect Kitana soon after, placing a powerful spell on her soul to bind her to his every command. Kitana would specifically be used by Onaga in an attempt to capture Sindel, but Sindel would flee with Jade to Outworld in an attempt to find a way to defeat Onaga. Meanwhile, Ermac would team up with Liu Kang's spirit in an attempt to free the souls that are under Onaga's control, which ended up being successful. Finally, onto the events of Armageddon, Kitana would be on her way back to Edenia when she would encounter Blaze, who would warn her of the coming battle of all the realms, requesting that she prepare her forces for war. Although Blaze reassured her that this war would be the end of all the fighting. Kitana would then fight in the Battle of Armageddon, but would ultimately be killed in the battle, ending the events of the original timeline. Technically, in the original timeline, she was also present in Mortal Kombat vs. the DC Universe, but we're just gonna pretend that didn't happen. Number 3. When it comes to the rebooted timeline, there are a few differences with Kitana's past this time around. We start with the events of Mortal Kombat 9, where Kitana was once again raised as Shao Kahn's daughter for pretty much her entire life. Having her friend Jade by her side, they both worked as some of Shao Kahn's personal assassins. Kitana would observe the first Mortal Kombat tournament from the shadows, failing an attempt to stop Sonya from leaving the island, and failing another attempt to stop Liu Kang from entering the finals. She would then ask Liu Kang to kill her for her failure, to which he just says, "No thanks," and he hopes the two meet again under better circumstances. Kitana would then head back to Outworld pending Shang Tsung's defeat. And upon the second Mortal Kombat tournament beginning, Kitana would be instructed by Shao Kahn to stop any Lin Kuei members from trespassing into Outworld. While on this task, she encounters Smoke, but is ultimately defeated by him. Later on during the tournament itself, Kitana defeats an unnamed Earthrealm monk, who pleads for her to kill him out of shame. But remembering how Liu Kang spared her life in the past, she hesitates, which leads to Shao Kahn killing the man himself. Shortly after, Sub-Zero rolls up uninvited to the tournament to challenge Scorpion, but ends up getting taken away by the Lin Kuei cyborgs. This interruption caused by a Lin Kuei member when Kitana was supposed to keep them from trespassing angered Shao Kahn, so he reprimands her for her failure. She is then further scolded by Jade, who leaves her to think about what she did. And soon after, she runs into Raiden's group, defeating both Johnny Cage and Smoke. But before she can deliver the finishing blow, Raiden notices her inner struggle, and suggests that she go to Shang Tsung's flesh pits to find the truth that she seeks. Kitana was prevented by Shao Kahn from going to the flesh pits, but decides to venture there anyway. En route, she encounters Jade, who tries to persuade her not to continue, but Kitana knocks her out and continues on. Once arriving in the flesh pits, Kitana is greeted by the hybrid Kitana Tarkatan clone, Mileena, who is claiming to be her sister. Mortified by the sight of these cloning experiments, and Mileena for that matter, Kitana takes her down. Shang Tsung then arrives, and Kitana defeats him as well, before dragging him before Shao Kahn to reveal the atrocities of his secret experiments. Upon delivering Shang Tsung to Shao Kahn and explaining the experiments he's been conducting, along with her encounter with Melina, Shao Kahn unexpectedly congratulates Shang Tsung for finally succeeding in the experiments. Rightfully confused, Kitana questions his knowledge of these experiments, to which Shao Kahn reveals that he killed Kitana's real father and conquered her realm. Her whole life up to this point was a lie. Shao Kahn then demands she be executed and she is escorted away to the dungeons. Jade overhears this encounter and goes to free Kitana later on in the night. However, Kitana urges her to instead get Raiden's help before she is also captured. Jade reluctantly agrees, and upon hearing this news, Liu Kang and Kung Lao rush to free her. Kitana is then set to be publicly executed in the Colosseum, and is subsequently rescued by Liu Kang right before Shao Kahn kills Kung Lao. Liu Kang then gets revenge by killing Shao Kahn and winning the tournament for that matter. However, Shao Kahn survived with help from Quan Chi. Kitana and Jade would then join forces with the Earthrealm warriors following those events. Quan Chi would additionally resurrect Sindel, and imbue her with Shang Tsung's power. So during Shao Kahn's subsequent invasion of Earthrealm, Sindel would confront all of the Earthrealm warriors that were present, including Kitana, killing pretty much all of Kitana's new allies right before her eyes, before attempting to kill her as well. Nightwolf intervenes and manages to defeat Sindel, but ended up sacrificing himself in the process. Liu Kang and Raiden then return to the massacre, and Kitana dies within Liu Kang's arms. Her soul, along with the other souls of the deceased Earthrealm warriors, would then be resurrected by Quan Chi as revenants in the Netherrealm to obey his every command. Kitana and the other revenants would be instructed to attack Raiden, and in their attempt would be defeated by Raiden soon after. Kitana only briefly appears during the events of the Mortal Kombat X comics, decapitating Moloch upon Quan Chi's orders and later suggesting they go after Shinnok's amulet. Fast forwarding to the events of Mortal Kombat X, Kitana is still a revenant obeying Quan Chi's orders 25 years after the events of Mortal Kombat 9. The only role Kitana really plays throughout the story is guarding the Sky Temple with fellow revenants on Shinnok's orders. But once Quan Chi is killed by Scorpion, and Shinnok defeated, the Revenants don't have a master to obey any longer, leading Kitana and Liu Kang to both rule the Netherrealm as Revenants together. Moving over to the events of Mortal Kombat 11, things get a little wonky with the timeline. Revenant Kitana and Liu Kang are further corrupted by Shinnok's influence, and make plans to invade Earthrealm. However, after Raiden and the Special Forces destroy the Bone Temple within the Netherrealm, the two of them ally with Kronika to create a timeline without Raiden in it. Through Kronika using the Sands of Time, past Kitana is brought into the current timeline as well, where after a big fight in Kotal Khan's arena, Kitana chooses to remain with Jade in Outworld to aid Kotal Khan against Shao Kahn. Kitana was originally tasked with recruiting Shiva and her Shokan armies, but in the process of doing so, Jade and Kotal Khan were captured by Shao Kahn's forces, leading Kitana, Liu Kang, and Kung Lao to instead try and seek alliance with Baraka and the Tarkatans, as Shiva states that without the Tarkatans, there would be no victory. So if Kitana can recruit them, Shiva and the Shokan will also join them. While trying to infiltrate the Tarkatan camp, Kitana is recognized by Scarlet, and the two fight, with Kitana rising as the victor. Meanwhile, Liu Kang and Kung Lao rescue Jade from within the camp, and as she's explaining what happened, Baraka arrives on the scene. After battling with Kitana, she convinces Baraka that it would be better to join Kotal's side. And now with the Tarkatans and the Shokan at her aid, Kitana and her forces rush the arena where Kotal Khan is about to be executed by Shao Kahn, rescuing him just in time. Kitana and Shao Kahn then duke it out, with Kitana being victorious and slashing Shao Kahn's eyes, completely defeating him. She runs over to Kotal to assure his victory as Khan. However, Kotal was heavily wounded by Shao Kahn during the battle, and is currently in no physical condition to rule, instead granting her the title of Kitana Khan, the new Empress of Outworld. As the new Khan, Kitana unites Outworld's forces against Kronika. In the final battle, Kitana's Outworld forces join with Raiden's, while Kitana herself, along with Kung Lao and Fire God Liu Kang, go to Kronika's hourglass to confront her. Kronika then proceeds to reverse time, which affects Kitana and Kung Lao, removing them from the picture. But now being a fire god, Liu Kang is unaffected, and is forced to fight Kronika along with the revenants of Kitana, Jade, and Kung Lao who still serve her. Liu Kang defeats them all, and Kronika for that matter, afterward returning to the Dawn of Time to create a new era with Kitana. However, it doesn't stop there because we also have the events of Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath, which takes place in an alternate timeline of the current rebooted timeline, right as Kitana and her forces enter the arena to save Kotal and defeat Shao Kahn. Those events still transpire, and Kitana still becomes Kitana Khan. And during all of this, Fujin, Shang Tsung, Nightwolf, and Shiva plot to resurrect Sindel, which Kitana walks in on after being alerted by Jade. Attempting to put a stop to her mother's resurrection, Kitana is stopped by Shiva, and after Sindel is resurrected, Kitana hesitates to show her any love, believing she committed harakiri and abandoned her as a child. However, Sindel reveals the truth, that Quan Chi actually killed her, and made her death look like she took her own life, ultimately gaining Kitana's trust. Later on, Sindel has a conversation with Shang Tsung, which reveals her true nature, before once again tricking Kitana into thinking that she is on her side. Sindel would then sneak away and go free and heal her true love, Shao Kahn, and the two of them would gather Outworld forces back to their side to plot against Kitana's rule. Then, during the final battle, this betrayal would commence, to Kitana's disbelief, believing her mother must be under some sort of spell to serve Shao Kahn, when in reality, Sindel thought her previous husband was weak, and ended up killing him herself to ally with Shao Kahn and become his queen. Now seeing Kitana as weak, just like her father, she wants to kill her as well. Sindel then battles Kitana and wins, initially having her taken away in chains to witness her army's crushing defeat. However, Revenant Jade and Kitana are then killed by the pair, marking Kitana's death in Aftermath. Now, with Mortal Kombat 1 and Fire God Liu Kang's new era, I may have already had an opportunity to experience the whole story myself. It's incredible, by the way. But considering the game just came out, I don't really want to spoil what happens in the story and want you guys to experience it yourself. So we'll have to talk about Kitana's involvement in this new era another time. Number 4. When it came to Mortal Kombat 2, Kitana, Mileena, and Jade were all portrayed by Catalin Zamiar. Catalin was first introduced to Ed and John by fellow Mortal Kombat character actor Daniel Pesina, who portrayed Johnny Cage. He introduced her once Ed and John decided they were looking for a female martial artist to portray the new female palette swap ninjas. Ed and John were also members of her fitness center, and decided to hire her once they witnessed her training. Catalin accepted the role because her brother happened to be a big fan of Mortal Kombat and told her she had to do it. Catalin had been in martial arts for about 12 years at that point, but in preparation for the role, this would be the first time she specifically trained in karate. The costume for the female ninjas was the blue used for Kitana, while the green and purple colored outfits for Jade and Mileena were changed digitally. The costume was basically a custom-made swimsuit, and apparently posed quite a bit of problems during the filming process, as the mask had to be taped to her nose, the top held up with rubber bands, and the boots kept slipping off during all the attempts at jump kicks. When it came to Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, Catalin wouldn't reprise her role, and was instead replaced by Becky Gable. The reason for this was because Catalin and other members of the Mortal Kombat 2 character portrayers ended up suing Midway Games, because apparently the actors weren't paid for their appearance in Mortal Kombat 2, and unfortunately, they lost the case, damaging their relationships with the developers and Midway for that matter, taking away any chances for those actors to come back for the next game. Number 5. In the early releases of Mortal Kombat 2, Kitana became known as the Unbeatable Fighter, which was namely because her moveset could be exploited with the fan lift, where you could essentially back your opponent into the corner of the screen and continuously lift and combo them out to the point where they couldn't even fight back. Later releases of the game attempted to fix and balance this, but the notoriety of this exploit even led Ed Boon to comment how impressed he was with players discovering combos for Kitana that not even he had thought of. Number 6. Kitana would be portrayed by Talia Soto in the Mortal Kombat live-action movie from 1995, along with its ugly sequel, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, being one of the only 2 actors from the first film to reprise their role. While a third film never came to light due to Annihilation's failure, it has been confirmed that Kitana would have been a pivotal character within it. Talia has stated that she loved the role of Kitana due to the challenge it posed for her, along with adoring the character's incredible strength. When initially accepting the role, apparently her nieces and nephews were ecstatic to educate her on what exactly Mortal Kombat was all about. Number 7. While Kitana wasn't present in the 2021 Mortal Kombat movie, it has been confirmed that a sequel is currently in the works, as the first movie was written as a trilogy. The sequel was in the middle of filming until the recent strikes halted production, but Kitana has been confirmed to be appearing in this sequel, played by Adeline Rudolph. That said, while Kitana wasn't present in the first film, there is a shot in which you can see Kitana's fan blade in the background as a little Easter egg. Number 8. Kitana was also a reoccurring character in the animated series Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm, loosely based on her Mortal Kombat 3 counterpart. Even though the series was short-lived, Kitana had multiple subplots dedicated specifically to her, one involving her friend Ruby, who is an original character based on Jade, a fight against her former ally Zara, who is another original character, along with an entire subplot based on her former lover, Rain. Which is a bit weird because Rain and Kitana have had no interaction whatsoever in either timeline of the main series, aside from the loose connection that both of them are Edenian. Number 9. Kitana was originally going to be included in the roster for Mortal Kombat 4. However, the team decided they wanted to include a new character instead towards the middle of production, opting to create Tanya and replace Kitana. To do this, they altered the existing model of Kitana in-game. Because of this, through cheat devices, you can actually play as Kitana in the game. Kitana would still technically appear in the game via Liu Kang's ending, however the model present is just a recolored Tanya model, and this would mark the first time Kitana appeared maskless in the series. Number 10. In addition to the last fact, Kitana would be included in Mortal Kombat Gold, which was essentially Mortal Kombat 4 but with more playable characters. In the game, Kitana has what is called the Flying Blade as a weapon, rather than her signature fan blades. This Flying Blade was given to Kitana instead of her fan blades because it essentially works the same functionality-wise as Tanya's boomerang. With Tanya and Kitana being conceived through the same in-game model, it allowed the developers to take a bit of a shortcut by not including the fan blades at all when adding Kitana officially into the game. Number 11. Kitana was originally going to be included in the roster for Mortal Kombat Deception. However, during the early stages of development, it was decided that Kitana was going to be replaced in favor of Jade, since Jade hadn't been featured in many of the games at that point. And considering Kitana died in the previous game, it would make sense from a story perspective. That said, Kitana still made 2 cameos in Deception, those being in the opening sequence of the game where her corpse is laying on the stairs, and she additionally appeared in the endings for Ermac and Sindel, but her character model is just a recolor of Melina's. Kitana would however make it onto the roster for Mortal Kombat Unchained, which was basically the PlayStation Portable port of Deception with additional characters. Number 12. Back in 1994 and 1995, before the games had fully established lore, the series had a comic book run by Malibu, which Kitana would, of course, be featured in. However, her story beats within these comics would be pretty weird compared to her later established lore. While her royal background is kept intact, she is instead put under a spell to forget her past, as Shao Kahn conquered Edenia while Kitana was already an adult. But with that spell, she still believes Shao Kahn is her father and Melina her sister. However, she decides to rebel against Shao Kahn with the help of Kung Lao, Baraka, and Sub-Zero of all characters, and has no interaction with Liu Kang whatsoever. Further making it weird by having Kitana enter a romance subplot with Kung Lao, and also Scorpion, who wants to take Kitana as his new wife. It just feels wrong. Number 13. Kitana's official height and weight is 128 pounds or 58 kilograms, and she's 5 foot 9 inches tall or 175 centimeters tall, while her age is over 10,000 years old, although she obviously looks like she's in her early 20s. Out of all the Edenians we know, Kitana is the only one whose age is actually known, and Kitana is additionally the youngest Edenian, as Shao Kahn's conquest of Edenia occurred when Kitana was still a baby. So essentially about 5,000 years for Edenians is roughly the equivalent of 10 years for humans. Number 14. In her non-canon ending in Mortal Kombat 9, Kitana teaming up with Jade and Melina was meant to be a direct reference to Charlie's Angels. Number 15. In Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, the costume used for Kitana, Melina, and Jade was red, and digitally colored blue, purple, and green after the fact. This was done so that the actress could stand out vibrantly against the blue screen they used to capture the actors into sprites back in the day. Real quick, now that Mortal Kombat 1 is finally coming out, I'll be playing it a lot over on my Twitch, twitch.tv/2spookster. So if you want to hang out with me, or even face me in Mortal Kombat, link in the description, or once again go to twitch.tv/2spookster, and I hope to see you there. I might even be live right now. Number 16. When it came to Kitana's design in Mortal Kombat X, the development team went on record to say that they wanted to change it up. In the past, all of Kitana's designs were centered around the fact that she was royalty, and were created to reflect that. But in Mortal Kombat X, they wanted to focus on the fact that Kitana was also a powerful fighter, and used that idea to give her a design based much more around ninja and stealth. Number 17. While Kitana isn't a playable character in Injustice 2, one of Raiden's dialogue options against himself mentioned that Kitana and Liu Kang rule Edenia together in his timeline.
In my realm, Liu Kang and Kitana rule Edenia. In mine, they govern the Netherrealm.
Possibly insinuating that Liu Kang actually accepted Kitana's proposal at the end of Mortal Kombat 4 in that specific timeline. Number 18. In Mortal Kombat 2, there was a rumor surrounding both Kitana and Mileena. That rumor being that the two of them could perform a finishing move called a nudality or sexuality, where they basically flashed the opposing player and made their head explode. It's unknown where this rumor started, but it was never true. Number 19. According to the crypt extras in Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, one little known fact would be that after Edenia was freed from Shao Kahn's clutches, Edenia adopted the sport of golf into their culture, and the successful golf company, Edenia Golf Outfitters, would be conquering the market, with Kitana and Goro being the official spokespeople for the brand, with Kitana having her very own signature golf attire and putter called Lady Kitana. Number 20. Kitana's infamous Kiss of Death fatality was inspired by the death of Mr. Big in the James Bond movie Live and Let Die from 1973, additionally being Ed Boon's favorite fatality from Mortal Kombat 2, as in his opinion it was one of their best examples from mixing humor and violence in the earlier games. The Kiss of Death fatality has since become one of the most iconic fatalities in the franchise, and has appeared in some fashion in almost every game installment after that aside from a couple outliers. Number 21. In Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, Kitana's animality transforms her into a small killer rabbit. This was apparently a reference to the rabbits from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Number 22. We've briefly talked about this before, back in my video about Rain, but once upon a time in the years 2000 and 2001, the series had this weird online web series called Mortal Kombat Federation of Martial Arts, where various Mortal Kombat characters were pitted against each other in live action every week, with fans being able to essentially bet on their favorite characters in these fights, winning fake currency and bragging rights if their chosen character won the fight of the week. Kitana is one of the many characters who were featured, going up against Jimmy Cage, you heard that correctly, Jimmy Cage, and Scorpion before the web series was cancelled and basically completely forgotten about. The cool fact about this would be that Kitana was portrayed by Dana He, who actually played Mileena in Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Number 23. In the 1995 Mortal Kombat movie, Liu Kang and Kitana were supposed to have a full romance subplot, with the two uniting at the end of the film. However, once filming began, they quickly realized that with so much violence happening periodically throughout the film, there wasn't really room to sneak a romance plot in there to any capacity. So it was scrapped. That said, this romantic subplot was brought back in the sequel for Annihilation. Number 24. In Mortal Kombat 2, Kitana's alternate skin was a light grayish-green color. This exact color palette would eventually be transferred over and reworked to the palette swap ninja Chameleon in Mortal Kombat Trilogy. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for, number 25. For the final fact, it should be no secret if you've watched any of my other Mortal Kombat fact videos that multiple characters have been specifically created following fans spreading rumors about the secret characters that don't actually exist, the most notable example being Ermac. But another character in the Mortal Kombat universe that came from fan rumors would be the character Skarlet, and this rumor actually stemmed from Kitana's sprite in Mortal Kombat 2, as apparently there was a rumored glitch about a secret red female ninja that came from Kitana's sprite, as it was rumored to use Kitana's fan blades instead of Mileena's sai when it appeared. This specific rumor is a bit more obscure than Ermac, as there was never any evidence posted that this secret character actually existed, and instead traveled completely word to mouth. And while Mileena's alternate color was a reddish pink, neither Kitana, Mileena, or Jade's sprites had a red alternate coded into the game, making the possibility of a red female ninja character pretty much impossible. Nevertheless, this mysterious red female ninja would only exist as a rumor until Mortal Kombat 9, when the blood red ninja Scarlet became the game's first DLC character, bringing the long-rumored character into reality after all those years. But there you have it, everybody, 25 facts about Kitana. Hopefully you enjoyed the video and learned something new. If you did, make sure to drop a like. While you're at it, be sure to comment which Mortal Kombat character you'd like to learn about next, and subscribe with those notifications on so you don't miss it. With the release of Mortal Kombat 1, I do plan on having some more Mortal Kombat content coming out sooner than later, and once again, I will be playing the game and facing viewers over on my Twitch, twitch.tv/2spookster, so I hope to see you there. All of my other social media is in the description, and with that, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon with the next video.